is the Conservative Colonel Podcast with Harrison Dawes, where one man stands against the rising tide of liberalism. This officer in the battle to preserve our nation is the Conservative Colonel.
Nothing ends here. Our hopes and our journeys continue.
And here's Harrison Dawes.
Welcome back to the Conservative Colonel Podcast. I'm your host, Harrison Dawes, and I'm joined by Graves Baker again, my illustrious co-host. That's how I'm introducing you, Graves, my illustrious. I'm butchering the pronunciation of that to heck, but here we are. But welcome back. I didn't realize, I forget that my intro has my name in it. So did you play the intro last week?
I did.
Please tell me you made a comment on that. Well, Harrison's not here.
Well, no, actually I didn't this time. I did the first time, but
Grace trash talked me on my own show, man.
I can't even remember my exact words, but I guess it sounded that way.
Yeah, it didn't. I told you I'm a picker. If I'm ever upset, I'll be straightforward because I know how my sense of humor is. It can be hard to tell. But yeah, no, Graves said something like, well, Harrison's not here, so I am. I was like, dang. And I haven't had a chance to watch last week's episode or listen to last week's episode yet because just been busy. I had a long week at work, and we're going to get on a recording schedule at some point, everyone. We promise. Because I think we uploaded the episode 2 days ago.
Yeah, we recorded it Saturday afternoon. And so, there's only been a couple of things on my, the stuff that I would really pay attention to that have happened. But that's one area that you've got me is more in Mississippi and stuff like that. So that's good.
Yeah, no, for those who don't know, we try our best to cover, simply because we're Mississippi located, we try to cover Mississippi and national news. So our out-of-state listeners still get something out of it. But even when we have a Mississippi-focused episode, I would encourage everybody to still listen simply because I guarantee you if it's happening in Mississippi, there's a good chance it could be happening in your state. And as conservatives, we have to take back the states if we want to take back the federal government.
True.
And we did a major hit to the establishment with the election of Trump, but I think we said this in his election episode. That would be like giving Trump a boat to go downstream, but then not giving him an engine or a paddle and just saying, have at it, my man. He could get through the establishment and crush it better with an engine or a paddle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my viewpoint on it. Trump is working his butt off, though, and we'll be talking a bit about what Trump has done this episode, as well as DOGE. I have to say it slowly, so I don't call it DOGE. But DOGE, they're somewhat in the news with one of our stories today. But, of course, we also can't help but have Delbert Hosemann in the show because Delbert is just – Delbert is the gift that keeps on giving to this show. Whenever I worry about what I'm going to say or how I'm going to fill an episode, I just Google Delbert's name and something comes up. And this is a bit old news, but not very old. The last episode we filmed that I was on, this had came out the night of, so I didn't touch upon it. But Delbert's costing the Mississippi taxpayers money again.
Surprising.
Surprise, surprise, because of his failure in redistricting. So for those who don't know, Delbert, well, when do we redistrict? Every 10 years, so the 2010s, 2020s, 2030.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2020, Delbert redistricted. And we've talked about on the show how he did this. He redistricted a certain way to get revenge against a senator that spoke out against him, to take away her Senate district and merge it with one of the most liberal districts in the state. And he did this out of pure spite, mind you. King Hosemann does not like being challenged. And he did that, but now it's coming to light that, let's see here. And this is coming from what I would assume to be Delbert's allies, but it's hilarious. I think, let's see here. This year, three federal judges panel ordered the supermajority Republican Mississippi legislature to draw and adopt new state legislation district maps during the 2025 session. And then they have to hold special elections to fill those seats in Mississippi. This order came after the Mississippi's NAACP filed a lawsuit challenging the 2022 legislative redistricting plan adopted by Hosemann and our lawmakers.
NAACP, but was the one that he kicked out were they person of color or something?
No, she was a white woman. But it looks like everybody's unhappy with how Delbert did it. And that's the funny thing, is that he went after someone. I mean, that's, again, he took away, he merged, he did a lot of bad stuff. But Delbert did all this, again, to get payback on one of the few senators that was brave enough to stand up against him. I will mispronounce her name to high heaven, so I won't say her name. I apologize, ma'am, if you are one of our listeners, but I'm not going to disrespect you and say your name wrong, because you actually fought for the good state of Mississippi and tried to get us a conservative movement going here with a supermajority Republican, by the way. God bless her.
Yeah, and still somehow we can't get rid of the, I don't know if you want to call it corruption, but just they're not doing the right things for the state. And Delbert himself obviously, wants to be the most, then I guess now in his position is the most powerful person in the state.
Yeah, lieutenant governor is the most powerful position in Mississippi, and it shows with Delbert. Most people, before Delbert got into office, always thought it was the governor, not reading our state constitution. But there's no doubt now that it's Delbert. I mean, again, he didn't just make sure his opponent lost an election. He makes sure that your Senate seat is gone, so you don't even have the ability to run. Yeah. That is a new level of Democrat. And I mean, I've always said Delbert the Democrat as a running joke. That's a term coined during the lieutenant governor's race with Delbert Hosemann and Chris McDaniel, with a lot of people on Chris's side calling him Delbert the Democrat. But it's true. He is a Democrat. He is 100% a liberal Democrat. But it's funny, as you said, the NAACP, filed the lawsuit that has brought this to light, and the three judges sided with him and has ordered our government to redo this and then hold special elections. So I'm guessing Delbert didn't just attack one person. I'm guessing he had to piss off someone else.
Probably.
And I mean, because it makes no sense, because Delbert is a major friend of the Democrats. So he had to do something. Delbert must have miscalculated. And let's see here. This is going to cost us money, by the way. The Mississippi taxpayer money. I don't have a number, but it's going to cost us a good bit because it costs a good bit to redistrict. And that's with the added salaries of the representatives we have to have now. Something I just thought about. If you take away representatives, all of a sudden, you might be saving some money. But now we have to add some again.
Yeah.
So that's probably what's going to hurt us. But not only that, but I don't know all the ins and outs of redistricting. But I guarantee you, and I know for a fact it's going to cost us money.
Well, are they trying to say that he gerrymandered the stuff? Because, I mean, that kind of to me sounds like it's the perfect example, but I don't know what they're, exactly going after him for.
It doesn't really say in the article I have pulled up why they're going after him. And surprise, surprise, guess what the liberal news media in Mississippi is not reporting on? This.
No clue.
I haven't seen one major news story about this, about us having to redistrict. I Googled it 3 or 4 times, and I get 3 things, and all of them are just different things that Delbert did. One of them's talking about his dehydration mishap, which I don't believe is dehydration. But it's funny that you're not hearing anybody talk about this. I'm getting my information from the Right Side Radio. Jack is a credible source. He's in news. He's been doing radio, conservative news, and now podcasting for years. So he is a trusted source on this. But yeah, no, he reported on this a while back. And I cannot believe, and I love his quote right here. Before the ink dried on their redistricting, on Delbert's redistricting, a lawsuit was filed that ordered them to draw it again. Which is not wrong. And again, Delbert redid all this because you don't have to change anything in the redistricting if you don't want to. Mm-hmm. It's all up to the lieutenant governor and his committee, and then it's voted on by everybody. And Delbert has 100% control almost of the Senate. So it's getting passed because at the time he had a pretty strong hold in the House too. I think he still does.
Probably.
But we're figuring out now that Delbert got these plans approved before they were vetted by legal authorities. And he was warned that if they were not vetted, they would have been challenged in the courts. But Delbert and his subordinates said that they had been vetted and they would not be challenged. As you can see, they've been challenged.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, again, Delbert and his lackeys were like, no, this has been vetted by proper legal authorities, and it cannot be challenged in court. We're good to go. This is all bulletproof. And then 3 years deadgum later, it's not. It's been challenged. It's been overturned. A judge has ordered our government here in Mississippi to redistrict and do it right this time. I mean,
and we're halfway to the next census. It shows that there's so much wrong with what he did that we're halfway through to the next census and we're still having to do this.
Yeah, and again, this could have been done right the first time. And Jack has even said his Senate district in Jones County is one of them facing redrawing and a potential special election. He is beyond frustrated because this was so avoidable.
Mm-hmm.
If they would have gotten it vetted, and they claimed that legal professionals vetted it, which they clearly not. And here we are. The state of Mississippi got sued, and these maps don't work. And so now we're having to do it again. And again, Delbert lied to the people of Mississippi. When someone brought it up, have these been vetted? Will this be challenged in Mississippi? Delbert's like, oh, yeah, no, we good. Now, did Delbert say that himself? No, Delbert's too smart to say that himself. Delbert had his lackeys do it. I don't have the senator all on hand, but I know for a fact Delbert probably didn't say it because Delbert's too smart to compromise himself. Just like when he was attacking the state auditor, he never attacked him directly other than a few comments that he threw the state auditor's way. But Delbert doesn't do his dirty work because that could jeopardize his crown. So he sends these other people in because he knows some people in Mississippi, and this is going to be a shock to everybody. And if you're one of them people, all I ask is do your research next election. He knows that this person, whoever he's got doing this, is going to get elected next election because they have an R by their name. And people only are going by that R and not if they're actually a conservative.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a major crisis in the Republican Party. We have a good platform. Trump has proven we have a good platform. Trump has proven people want our platform. Trump has been able to pull Jeffersonians like me and what I have termed Washington conservatives like Baker together on this platform. When before, I think I could say that probably Graves, our side in the Republican Party, were probably a bit more bickering than they should have.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the Jeffersonian conservatives will take the credit that we probably coined the term rhinos, and then Trump made it famous. Because we were so mad with some conservatives that we felt weren't being conservatives. But now it's gotten to the point where both our sides are together on this, looking at the rhinos like, okay, we can disagree, but we can at least agree that y'all aren't even trying to do your job as a conservative. And so we're going to come after y'all. And I mean, I don't know if I've seen the Republican Party or conservatives this united against the major problem that's with the Republican Party, which is rhinos. We have been 100% infiltrated by rhinos.
And we voted for change, for something that is completely against rhinos. And now I hear Mitch McConnell is trying to, who's a massive rhino, is trying to block the Trump tariffs. Well, I'm just going to say this. The tariffs have been getting other countries to just capitulate as soon as we put them on them. But we voted and won the popular vote to get away from rhino stuff. And the rhinos are still trying to hold on to power. Mississippi has its own problem there, obviously, with Delbert. But
Delbert is a special breed, but I guarantee you, go look at your Republican Party in your state, and you'll see that there are rhinos everywhere. You probably, maybe even like Mississippi, have more rhinos than real conservatives. And I know that's a case for national politics, and I feel bad for Trump. I do some days because I know he is working his butt off. I mean, how many days has it been since he got into office? We're not even like what?
52 or 53?
53 days in, and Trump has been working his tail off trying to get the government on track, and the rhinos are trying their best to stop it, even though we hold now not big majorities like here in Mississippi, but majorities in the House and the Senate. We should be passing stuff, but we're not. Why? And it's because of the rhinos. You have real conservatives working their butt off in Trump's administration and in the Senate and the House, but they can't get anything done because of these rhinos.
Yep.
So the reason I kind of harp on this stuff is because I'm trying to let everybody know. When's our next election? 26?
Mostly, yeah. There's a couple this year, like governor and state level, but
yeah. Focus on them because, mind you, our government was designed for the states to be able to tell the federal government when they've overstepped. Article 10.
I think we have two governors races this year: New Jersey and either Kentucky or Virginia.
Oh, if it's Virginia, I'm worried. New Jersey, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't think New Jersey is going to wake up this year.
I don't either. My assistant lives there, and he just, he's like, it's a red state, but they vote blue for governor, and
Makes no sense, does it? Well,
no.
welcome to New Jersey. But yeah, I mean, if the other one is Virginia, they definitely need to wake up and make sure they have a strong Republican in there. And I mean, I haven't done research on their governor. I don't know how good he is. I think I know the current governor has done a pretty good job in Virginia, hence why Virginia is starting to turn a bit red.
Yeah,
But also, he didn't win strong last time. It was close.
He didn't. And, it's weird that in Virginia, you can only be governor for one term, and then you have to get out. So then he can run again 4 years after the next election there, but he can't serve consecutive terms.
That's not good. I'm praying on Virginia right now for them to pick someone good to keep that chair warm. And I mean, just have two guys that are really good at it. But that was kind of my rant on the evening with Mississippi. Is good old Delbert is just at it again with costing us more money. He's against us finding government waste in the state of Mississippi, as we all know. We've talked multiple episodes on that. And it looks like he is just bent on making sure he just wastes our money. Why? I don't know. He's running for governor. He's already confirmed running for governor. Normally, that's when he would tighten his ship a bit. But I guess he's waiting for that last year, thinking that people won't even think about the last three. And then he'll do some conservative stuff.
Probably. That's a Democrat tactic there, don't do anything. But, hey, it's the year of the election. So now I have to, start acting like I care again.
Yep. And Delbert's very good at that. He did that this last year when he was running for re-election for governor or lieutenant governor. And, the funny thing is we're getting rid of Delbert. He could probably do less damage as governor, honestly, is the sad thing.
Yeah.
But I just don't want him to be I want him gone. Me and Graves are going to go at Delbert when it's time for election here in Mississippi. I want to go at him. And I know who's probably running against him. But I don't think he's announced yet. But there's heavy rumor that someone else, our state auditor, is going to be going after it. And I think that would be good. I do think he could do more good as lieutenant governor. I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if it gets Delbert out of politics here in Mississippi and he can go to a retirement home finally and spend time with his grandkids, because the man's in his 70s, late.
He did 70s. Fall out.
Yeah, and passed out in the middle of session. That's a clear indication, my man, that it's probably time. And I think you and Sam talked about this. There's some older people that are running full steam ahead like Trump.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to clarify, Trump is a rare case. Trump is like a rarity in that, where age has affected him, but he's still very, very more active than me and Graves at our age.
I was about to say that.
I mean, he stays up longer than me, and I have insomnia, but he's able to get up in the morning. And I'm like, you can ask me. Me and Graves plan on filming this in the morning today, and me and Graves both fell asleep, and we're. Then you got 76, 75-year-old Trump doing all this. But Trump is a rarity. I want to stress that. Because normally it's just Father Time catches us up with us all. And there's a time to let go of power. Now, Trump, again, is a rare case where he's never been in politics. So this is really the first time he's had power in our government. So this really doesn't apply to Trump either. But I know that us conservatives, and I'm even talking about me and Graves' side of conservatism, we are both guilty of holding on to a good conservative, even if he's past his age, that he should be involved because we have so little good conservatives.
Yeah. And we don't want a king like the Democrats are saying, like that Trump wants to be a king, but we really need someone like him, especially these next 4 years. Like, just run through these next 4 years. I think he'll be 81 when he gets done, maybe 82. But after that, he's done. He's not going to run for Congress at 82 after being president.
No, and again, I mean, at that age, anything can happen. But with how Trump lives, I wouldn't be shocked if he fights his system tooth and nail to keep it together until after his term. But again, I wouldn't be shocked if Trump was healthier than me and Graves by the end of his term.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is I critique my side as much as I critique the rhinos and the Republicans. And I will say sometimes we hold on to people because it's so hard to find a good conservative too long. But again, that's the great thing about Trump. He's been in power. He was in power for 4 years as president. And by power, I don't mean kingdom, Democrats. Back off. I mean in politics. He was only in politics for 4 years. And he kind of took a bit of a break after the 2020 election. Started saying some stuff and then started getting back into it. But then again, there's a lot of people that get out of politics and still stay in touch with it. So, I mean, that's not necessarily him even being in control or in power, so to speak. And then now you have these 4 years. So all in all, Trump has spent 8 years in government.
Yeah, out of that's 1/10 of his life by the time he gets out.
Yeah, and then you have people that have been in government for so long, they're old, and they just can't cut it anymore. And sometimes you got to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself, like good old Mitch. I mean, Mitch should have been gone long ago, but he's still here.
Biden spent 55 years of his life in there.
Golly, yeah, 55 years. That he's in his 80s. So he only spent 30 years of his life.
I think he was 27 when he got elected.
Yeah, so that is crazy.
I turned 27 this year. That's like me getting elected to the Senate next year and spending my life in politics until I'm in my 80s.
I would not wish that upon my worst enemy. I mean, if you're doing the job right, you're serving people and you're stressing out and you're working your butt off. So why would you want to do it for a long amount of time?
Yeah.
And there is times where Republicans are like, okay, well, I know I'm the right man for the job, but I've been involved in this too long. I'm going to let the people decide. And if I'm not mistaken, Ted Cruz said something like that. He's having to balance being, I know I'm the right conservative for the job, but I'm getting up there in years. I don't want to turn into a Mitch. And that's the problem with good conservatives is all good conservatives want term limits. All good conservatives don't want to be in there for too long. So that's how we end up with all these rhinos in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
So it's a catch-52. But let's take a quick commercial break, and then I think we're going to jump to one of your stories, Graves, as we go into national politics. And then we got 2 more stories from me, and I think 2 more from you.
Really, I just have 2.
Okay.
Real quick.
All right. Well, real quick, make sure to check us out on conservativekernel.com. We release new episodes every Thursday. We try our best to anyway. You'll at least have a new episode every week, but you can check us out on our main platform, Spreaker, but we're also on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music and Audible, Cashbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Listen Notes, and Good Pods. We also release the video format on the show on Wednesdays on YouTube. Go check out conservativekernel.com and check out the store, and you can see our new T-shirt and crew and sweatshirt hoodie that it has MCGA on it. Make conservatives great again, with the Hope logo style. Stole that from Obama, with Mitch McConnell though in the center. I just thought it was great, and he looks like he doesn't know what's happening in the picture, which is even greater. And on the back it says hashtag no more rhinos. Join the movement, and together let's make conservatives great again. So go check out our new T-shirt and go check us out at conservativekernel.com. We will be right back after this commercial break. All right, welcome back to the Conservative Kernel podcast. I let my dog out. Knocks over a stacked towels that I was cleaning.
Nice.
Thank you, baby. But my computer's about to die, so if you hear me just like leave for a bit, that's why, and Graves is going to take over. But also make sure to leave a 5-star review on all those podcast platforms I told you about earlier. Yay. But I think Graves has got a story for us, and then we got one on Roger Wicker next.
Yeah, so last week when Sam and I were on, we talked about, part of that was about the economy, and we had some numbers then, such as 93% of the growth was in the private sector. Total jobs created were 284,000, but 87,000 illegals lost their jobs in February. So Americans getting jobs, illegals losing jobs, good for the citizens. But we have some more numbers that have come out since then, and that was just a couple of days ago. Egg prices are now lower than Inauguration Day. And I know the liberals love to talk about egg prices and how Trump said they would get done on day one. Well, guess what? Now they are lower. They were $6.58 on Inauguration Day. It's down to $5.17 as of today. It got up to $8 a couple of weeks ago, and it has now come down to that point, but it's gone down $2 in the last 4 days, which is a huge drop. The gas prices are the lowest they've been since March of 2021. I was debating somebody on Twitter yesterday, and they couldn't do their own research. They did some AI research and just sent me what the AI said about gas. But they didn't take enough time to read into it, where it said it seems like the gas is going to be the lowest it has been in 4 years, and it gave some sources. Well, this guy tried to say gas is not the lowest it's been in 4 years. He didn't even take the time to look at one of the examples in that, which was AAA, which shows, and I sent this to him, that it is the lowest it's been in 4 years. So that's good. Mortgage rates, which people like my mom who are paying a mortgage, it's gone down for the 6th straight week, which is also really good for everybody. Real-time inflation is at 1.3%. That's the lowest it's been since Trump was in office the first time. But overall inflation, because of the Biden administration, is still at 2.8%. But in January, it was 3%. So it's gone down a little bit. And I can tell you right now, from looking at gas prices every single day and other stuff, inflation is going to come down more in March. I'm sure of it at this point. So, you know, those are just some things the past couple of days that have come out from February numbers. And I'm sure that the liberal media is going to find a way to spin all of this. But Trump doesn't like when you spin stuff and don't tell the truth. And that, great example, George Stephanopoulos and ABC today have settled in the defamation suit that Trump had against them. They now have to pay him $15 million. So all this stuff that they say, if you want to keep lying about it, you have people like us and other influencers, you could call it, on Twitter or TikTok and stuff that are telling the truth. But the media seems to not get past that. And it ends up hurting them monetarily. It's going to help them continue to lose elections. But for 52, 53 days, the economy has taken a huge step in the right direction.
And what's crazy about that is, as you said, that's 50 dead gum days.
Yeah.
That's a month and a half. Probably closing on 2 months. And Trump has done all that in that span of time? That is crazy.
And not to mention, Ontario was like, we're going to put 25% on your electricity. Trump says, okay, we're going to put 50% instead of 25. I'm going to double that to 50%. And then Ontario was like, never mind. Like the premier of Ontario, I guess that's like governor, but he was like, I'm not going to back down. I swear, an hour later, he was on the news again saying, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore.
Trump has got his methods. Just like still in a phrase from Generation Alpha here, and making myself feel old. Let him cook.
Yeah.
Let him cook, man. But it's just awesome again. In 50 days, 52, 53, this is what Trump has done. This is compared to the 50 years that some of these people spent in office, or heck, you could say the 4 years of a past president.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And yeah, Democrats were all over them eggs. Oh my gosh. I've heard more about egg prices in my life. Like, this is like, I live on a farm and I haven't heard this much about eggs ever. And all of a sudden, it's like a major issue. Eggs. And I'm like, okay.
They think it's like the end of the world.
Yeah. Like the egg crisis of 2025. That is what I want. I'm tempted to name the episode that, because I heard it so much it drove me crazy. I finally looked at someone was like, I'm not even buying eggs at the grocery store anymore. I'm tired of hearing. I don't even want to see an egg. Y'all have beaten the horse to death with the egg thing. We get it. You like eggs. I love them myself.
The Biden administration at the end of last year offed, I'll put it that way so we don't get banned, they offed over 100 million. The estimate is between 100 million and 150 million chickens that they offed because of the avian flu. However, Canada, who is right there, didn't kill a single chicken. So I'm guessing that just like COVID, if you're standing up at a restaurant, you have to have your mask on, but when you sit down to eat, the virus can't touch you. I guess the avian flu doesn't cross the border either. So I think they were trying to set Trump up for that. But one, the chickens have to repopulate, but also the stuff he's doing is bringing down these prices, especially when energy's gone down. We're paying $22 less a barrel for oil right now than we were when Biden left. So the price of transporting all of this stuff is going down. Your prices come down. It's going to keep coming down. And the chickens probably haven't even repopulated enough yet. So it's only going to get better.
Yeah, I mean, and something you said there I do want to touch on in a second. But I have no doubt with how the Democrat mind works that they were like, let's talk about eggs. That's where we'll get Trump, is eggs. And the funny thing is for some reason I can see Joe in my head sitting at a closed door meeting. We can get them on the eggs.
Yeah.
And like everybody's like, all right, Joe, if you think that's going to be the key. But something you did press on, and I mean, we'll probably dedicate a whole episode to this at some point, so I don't want to just talk about this for a while, but traditional media lying to the point where new media is going to completely change the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy, and how Trump has exposed how just, I wouldn't even say necessarily corrupt, but how compromised our traditional media has gotten. And actually, the next story is talking a bit on that subject.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else you want to add to that story, Graves?
Not really. Just some more numbers for people to understand that you're not going to hear that. They're going to try to spend it, but that's the actual truth. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah. Well, 1 second. It's allergy season. For our video watchers, I feel bad for you. You just saw me have to do a spit take because of my allergies. And now the poor listeners have to listen to it as well. But the next story kind of goes what me and Graves just touched on. Again, I want to do a whole episode on old media versus new media. But Super Talk Mississippi Media, government funded news agency, and that should tell you all you need to know, wrote this article about Roger Wicker, and my computer just died. So I'm happy I switched. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
All right. Well, that's good. So give me a minute while I figure out how I'm about to have to do this. All right. So I don't know if this is going to work. So Graves, you just tell me when I cut out, because I've never had to. Huh?
I can still hear you right now.
Okay, good, because I've never had to do the show like this before, but the poor people that watch them were going to be like seeing my nose hair this episode. But Super Talk Mississippi Media, government-funded news organization, wrote this article. It's by Ricky Matthews. It was released about a week ago, March 10th. And I just thought it's a great talking point about how compromised our media got. Mississippi's Roger Wicker. Here's the tagline, Graves. Here's the name of the article. Roger Wicker, the partner Trump needs to shape a stronger America. So the senator from Ukraine, Roger Wicker, is apparently going to play a pivotal role in Trump's administration. That is this is the exact quote. As the world watches America's next moves, Senator Roger Wicker stands ready to play a pivotal role. A pivotal role?
He hasn't done anything.
Get paid?
Yeah.
He's done a great job of doing that. He's still somehow the poorest senator there. I don't know what's worse. The fact that he might not be taking bribes, or he's so good he's hiding it. I really don't know which is worse. Because if he's not taking bribes, you look at him like, you are a stupid Republican. You are the definition of a rhino. But if he's high, you're like, okay, you might be one of the smartest rhinos we have. I honestly don't know which is scarier. But he's the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Look at this next line. Exact quote from the article. The Republican from Mississippi brings a wealth of experience and a steady hand to a movement of significant global uncertainty. With President Donald Trump chartering bold courses on international affairs, Wicker isn't just a bystander. He's the ideal partner to help refine and strengthen this administration's vision and helping to ensure that U.S. interests come first.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, the man that is I'm going to stop taxpayer waste, but I'm going to vote for sending billions to the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Just so their president, I'm not even going to pronounce his name, who, by the way, didn't hold an election. Sounds like a real president, doesn't he? Didn't hold an election. We talked about a couple episodes ago. It might have been not last week's, but episode 42. It was just me, I think. What they've sent money to, like Ukrainian models, that is what some of our taxpaying dollars have went to, by the way.
Wow.
Go check out that episode if you haven't listened. And it's like a couple $100,000. All in all, it's like a couple million. But that's what Wicker, ensuring America's interests come first. Is it April Fool's? Is this a joke article? I honestly can't tell.
Yeah, it sounds like satire, unless it's someone who just doesn't know what's going on.
It has to be someone, because this is not a satire website. It has to be someone that honestly does not look at what Wicker does. We spent a whole episode exposing Roger Wicker. It is probably my favorite series of episodes I want to do. Going deep into a person's political career and dragging out the skeletons. Me and Graves have talked about a couple people that we want to do an episode on, and we just haven't had the time to do the research, because it does take a long time to do the research on those episodes. But go listen to the Roger Wicker exposed episode. Roger Wicker voted against an amendment that would have balanced the budget, and by this year, 2025, we would not be in debt. The trillions of debt we're in, gone. That amendment had a game plan, and he voted against it. That is ensuring that American interests come first, isn't it, Graves?
Apparently, that's doesn't sound good to me, but
yeah. Not only that, but he has spent, as we said, helped send billions to the Ukraine. He's big in the movement to support Ukraine. He's probably the face of the Ukraine movement here in America, I would say. I mean, he is so, every time I hear him for the past dang gum years, almost really cussed up a storm. Past couple years, every time I see Wicker on my television, he's talking about the Ukraine. Nothing else matters. Hasn't checked on the people of Mississippi. Doesn't come here. It's like he doesn't care. And I don't think he does care about Mississippi. But it's crazy. He spent billions. He's wasted trillions of dollars. I guarantee you we can tie trillions of dollars to Wicker himself. So saying that he ensures that U.S. interest comes first might be the greatest joke of the century. The article even goes on. Wicker's credentials speak for themselves. A long-term advocate for strong national defense. He has spent years developing ties with allies like Ukraine and pushing back Russian threats. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Russia's always been a threat, but we weren't really in a pissing match with them until the Ukraine incident, right?
Yeah, because a little bit of background is we signed something in 1992 that said NATO would never move an inch closer toward Russia, and we brought in 14 new countries. They took Georgia before we could get them in NATO because we wanted them for some reason, and then we're trying to get Ukraine in. So they went after Ukraine, We kind of did violate what we told them, but what I want to know about Roger Wicker, now that Ukraine has signed something committing to a ceasefire for 30 days, is Roger Wicker going to be upset if we get that done, or does he want to keep the war going?
I think he wants to keep the war going because warmongers are something that has been an unflattering tag to Republicans. And really, you can throw it on the Roger Wickers and the Mitch McConnells, who you know are getting paid. Roger Wicker also had a private meeting with the Ukraine president before his meeting with Trump, by the way. And now these are just rumors, so take it with a grain of salt. But there is some talk in Washington, Graves, you might have heard about this, that in that meeting, they asked the Ukraine president to, on purpose, piss off Donald Trump. So this ceasefire wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know why he was meeting with Democrats before meeting with the president, but I'm sure that they told him to do something. And even the leaders of Europe, I think they had spoken with him, because as soon as that was over, pretty much verbatim, about 25 different countries put out the same thing on Twitter.
Yeah, are they paying the Ukraine billions? I really want to know, because they seem all interested, but none of them are coughing up the money like we are.
No, and they, I think, have sent a little over 100 billion total, but you got to think, we're one country, and that's like 40 different countries over there that support Ukraine, and they can't muster up, any more than we can. But they want to talk like, oh, well, we're going to take this on our own now. And the EU's like, we're going to match America's spending budget. We're all going to get together and put together 800 billion. Zelensky knows that's not going to happen. They don't have that much. So he signed the ceasefire thing. Now Russia has to accept it, but
I mean, the funny thing about all this is, yeah, and like a good portion of our money has not went to the war efforts. What's even worse, because the Ukraine and America refused to have someone audit everything and keep track of the funds. So I don't even want. DOGE has found, like, I'm pretty sure DOGE is the one that discovered that some of that money went to Ukraine models to give them a nice house and buy dresses so they look pretty. I wouldn't be shocked. But
yeah,
this is crazy. And this is my favorite quote in the article. Always on top of his game. It's talking about Roger Wicker, of course. He's always on top of his geopolitical armed services game and looking out for America and Mississippi's interest. Wicker hasn't looked out for Mississippi's interest since being elected. I have not heard him have one town hall.
Yeah.
I have not heard him, other than election time, making the rounds in Mississippi. He has not come to Jackson to host something. He has not went to northern Mississippi to host something, or the coast. If he does, it's usually, hey, pay me money, 1%ers. Hey, how about this? It's election time, so can you vote for me? That's the only time you see Roger Wicker. I would be happy if someone proved me wrong. Like, no, Wicker hosted a town hall and he asked for our opinion on what we think Mississippi's interests are. Because again, here's the kicker: you're supposed to represent Mississippi's interest on the national level.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to also look out for you as a whole. But you're the senator from Mississippi. I said it earlier. He acts like the senator from Ukraine.
Yeah.
And this is not an isolated incident. Wicker jumps from his battle to his next battle. I can't even remember what the last one is. But he finds a thing that he makes his whole thing. And he is willing to die on that hill. But Wicker hasn't looked out for his interests and Mississippi's interests. He hasn't looked out for Mississippi's interests since he left the Mississippi state government. Even then, you can make the argument he probably wasn't looking out for Mississippi's interest. Let's be honest. If he's this bad on the national level, do we really think he was this good on the state level?
Well, I mean, I don't even know what year that Wicker went to the Senate, but
let's just, for craps and giggles, just give me a minute.
He's been there for a while.
Oh, he's been here forever. So let's see here. He was in. So he was in the Mississippi Senate
got into office in 88, got out of office in 95. Then he became a representative from Mississippi, again on the Mississippi level. This is the state level, from 95 to 2007. Then from 2007 till present day, he became a U.S. Senator. So Graves, 11 years from my birth. 11 years.
Yeah.
This man got into politics on the Mississippi level. And then, when I was 8, he left Mississippi politics and went on the national level. I am 26 dead gum years old. All my life, this man has been in politics, and he has no gear of stopping down. He is the man's 73. He was born a year before my grandfather, or the year after grandfather.
I didn't know he was. Well, I guess it makes sense when you see him that he'd be in his 70s. So
Yeah, he was born the year of my grandmother in 51.
So he's a year older than my mom.
Yep.
Which I know for people out there, they're like, well, your mom. Yeah, I'm 26 too, but, she was 45 when she got me. So I got an old family. I'm very young compared to the rest of them.
About to say your mom is like a year younger than my grandmother.
Yeah.
But again, obviously a career, lifelong politician. I wouldn't say he's our Joe Biden, but he is our Joe Biden in the sense of his political career.
Yeah,
I mean, he got in his 30s. So, I mean, late 30s, but I mean, he's in his early 70s now, 73.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a career. And the man also, I mean, hey, stop it. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hit your head. And my dog, by the way, for our listeners, is begging for attention. So sorry about that. She's going to hit her head on the cat on my desk if she's not careful. I don't want her to hurt herself. But getting back to Roger Wicker. Yeah, his interests have never been American. Because, again, if it was, he would have tried to get down the national debt. If he was, he wouldn't have done the multiple things he's done. So he's already proven he doesn't care about America's interests. I don't think you could pay the man to give a crap about Mississippi.
Yeah.
And now they're saying that Wicker has a unique chance to help strengthen Trump's team's strategies. What? And this is the only the right thing they've said in this. Wicker has long argued that a stable, independent Ukraine is a shield against the overreach by Russia's Vladimir Putin. That's correct.
Yeah, I would say so.
Excuse me. I can't mute myself in time now. But that's the only true thing they've said in this. And it goes on. The Armed Services Committee gives Wicker real muscle to make this ship work. He can steal Mississippi military priorities to match Trump's agenda. Wicker has proven he's against Trump's agenda.
Yeah.
What stuff are y'all drinking over here at this news station?
Well, it's state funded. I mean, we have Republican legislature and governor and stuff, but like it seems like anything state funded just doesn't, they think someone like Roger Wicker is a great conservative for Trump somehow, but are also left wing themselves.
Yeah, I'm very confused by this article. I honestly have no words for this article. It is a love letter for some reason for Roger Wicker. And again, I don't understand it. Roger Wicker has not shown much love at all to Mississippi. And for some reason, here we are, this whole Mississippi super talk is like, this is the most butt kissing I've seen in a while. Like, please, sir, can we get a new budget? Like, that is 100% what this is about. It's blatantly obvious.
Yeah, it's more money.
Lies. I mean, I really want to know if Super Talk is getting like a budget raise next session, because this was like some A-grade butt kissing. Like, I have never, like, Democrats lie pretty hard, but this is like blatant, just fairy tale crap.
Yeah.
Like, this is the stuff you would see in Game of Thrones script writing. Like, I don't even want to finish the article. It's so much bullcrap. It's about a 5-minute read, and if you need a good laugh, go look at the last line. Mississippians sent Wicker to Washington to lead, and now he has a chance to do so. Okay. Yeah, that's what we sent him to do. Well, if Wicker's leading Washington, that's our first problem.
That would not be good for us. That would not. Him and Trump just are not the same.
No, I mean, again, it's just, I'm just dumbfounded. When I saw the article name, I thought that they were going to be stretching the truth, but this is full on like propaganda, like full on lies, like pro Ricker propaganda. This is 100% bullcrap. There's like 1% of this stuff that makes sense, and all that makes sense and is truthful is the fact that Wicker's been pushing the Ukraine incident since he came on. He saw his money train, and he knew. I'm guaranteeing you that Ukraine president has a lovely private bank account for Wicker. I cannot prove it. So take it with a grain of salt that this is my personal opinion. As someone who is investigating politics, I can't help but think there's something shady going on. Because, again, you said it a bit ago, a team of Democrats and Roger Wicker met with him before the Trump disaster, before he got into this big pissing match with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened?
I mean, I'm convinced that they told him to act like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if the Democrats did it, Roger Wicker was still in the room and could have given Trump a warning. Hey, the Ukraine president's coming. He's on purpose going to try to derail this meeting. Stay calm. Do all that. But he didn't. So that tells you what side he's on. He is on the war side. And that is all this is. Every time there's a war, our government gets more powerful. And they get paid more. That's why you'll hear the war on drugs, the war on this, the war on that, the war on... The reason why they use that term is so they can get war power without officially declaring war. That's the whole purpose of this. And now they've even outdone themselves on the war, on whatever, with the war in Ukraine. We've blatantly gotten involved in someone else's business for the sole purpose of spending a lot of money so we get more powerful.
Yeah. And, you know, some people on the left and maybe even some people on the right have said we're weakening Russia's military without having to lose a single person. You know, well, I'm losing tax money that's going over there when, if we didn't spend that money over there, either I could have lower taxes or, I don't know, we could help out American citizens.
I don't understand our country's fascination with being a world police force. Like, where in our Constitution did that become our job?
I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be like the opposite.
Yeah, like why aren't we focusing on our country instead of getting involved in everybody's business so we know what everybody's doing? How about we just build a strong defense, a strong military, which I'm not a big fan of an over-powerful military because of how our Constitution states. But in today's day and age, it would be nice. But you don't have to do what they're doing to protect America, they're calling it. They just want, for some reason, for us to be a world police force. We're going to get right back, and I did not realize how much time we spent on this, so we still have like a couple news stories, and I'm not going to have enough commercial breaks this episode. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and get right back into it in a bit. I feel so bad for our YouTube viewers. They just have like a zoomed in on my face, and I have been told I have a face for radio. So I feel bad for y'all. But kind of to wrap up the day, and I know Graves is going to have a good bit to say on this topic because me and him both get fired up about this. But I don't have the actual article pulled up because my computer died. But so House piss fire. 1 second. All right. House Representative member Jamie Crockett from Texas is apparently pissed at Elon Musk and DOGE. Shocker, shocker. And she wants them to basically stop what they're doing now. Stop finding government waste. Stop making us all look bad. And
of course.
Graves, I kind of have an inkling why I think she wants it to stop.
Well, it probably has to do with the fact she's been in Congress for 2 years, and her net worth is a couple $1 million, apparently, when her salary is, I believe, either 200,000 or less.
Oh, it's less. So get this, I got some numbers for us. And most of this comes from MSN. So a liberal news site. Liberal news station is outing her. Her net worth is anywhere between $6 million to $9 million. I'll say that again for people in the back. $6 million to $9 million. She took office January 3rd, 2023.
That's crazy.
And a U.S. House Representative member makes $174,000 a year.
That doesn't add up to between $6 and $9 million.
Yeah, no, that's about $300,000 in total, I think, or a bit over $300,000, a good bit over $300,000, but still, I guess $348 million.
Thousand.
Yeah, 1,000. I said million. 1,000. Thank you, Greg.
380 million. If she had that, or 48 million, that would
I'd be pissed if I'm paying that salary.
Yeah.
But why aren't you getting paid that much? What's she doing up there? But that's still crazy to think about. Just her pay in general over just 2 years of service is almost $500,000.
Yeah.
But she's been in office for 2 deadgum years. And she was in office for a couple years in Texas, but I guarantee you Texas isn't paying a couple mil for their representatives. Fun fact for y'all, because I just saw it and I want to make this known. She was born 7 years before Wicker took office for the first time. So she's 43.
Yeah,
Another
almost her
person.
entire life.
Yeah, Wicker has been in office since she was 7, 8.
Crazy.
Just want to throw that out there for our previous argument. But she is worth, about $6 to $8 million. And now get where she says this comes from. Smart investments and her law career.
That's a lot of money to, well, first off, smart investments, probably while you're in Congress and y'all have control. Yeah. Like Nancy Pelosi does.
I mean, that is how Nancy Pelosi made her money. But just for craps and giggles, she passed the bar in 2006. So she's had a decent career in law. You know, trying to do the math in my head, about 15 years in law. But I know some great lawyers that are not worth $9 million.
Mm-hmm.
Even in Texas, where she handles car accident lawsuits at a private or a pretty. Or she formed her own law firm, so she had her own law firm. She also took a lot of pro bono cases for Black Lives Matter. So if that tells you anything,
Yeah. They probably pay pretty well though, because they didn't use any of the money that they raised for anything in the black community. Really, they just bought their own mansions.
No, so I do believe she did pro bono cases because I mean those mansions don't pay for themselves. So I'm glad she took these cases out of the kindness of her heart, so the BLM leaders could stay in their mansions. But again, so about 15-year career. I mean, even in Texas, even with being a decently good lawyer, because I mean, I don't know how big she is. I didn't know how much she does. So, I mean, it is possible for a lawyer to have somewhat of that level of income. It is possible. But it feels weird to me because she did start out, so it wasn't even full 10 years in office. She became a public defender for a while. It doesn't say how long she was a public defender, so she wasn't getting paid good, is what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
And then later formed her own law firm, which handled car accident lawsuits, which I'm guessing in Texas, because I drove in Texas about a couple weeks ago, and I can tell you, I'm sure those probably happen a lot. But still, $9 million? Doesn't that still smell a bit fishy to you, Graves?
It does.
So,
and I mean, we know that there is corruption in Congress, kickbacks and stuff. So,
yeah, I mean, we know that for a fact. It just blows my mind that for some reason she's worth almost $9 million. 6 to 9. 6 to 9. But also get this, and I do want to point this out real quick. She has house properties worth. She has a $2 million townhouse. She has a $1.5 million loft and a $5 million lakefront cabin. Yeah. Sign me up for law school. Holy crap, big dog.
right.
I mean, golly. But if it's not the law, again, how are you affording this stuff year round? Because now, with how our Congress works, you're almost a full-time representative. You're not getting paid that much. So your earnings would have to dip. So how are you being able to keep a hold of these properties?
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to kind of point out to the Nancy Pelosi thing. A lot of her money comes from apparently good investments. Play in the stock market. Sounds like to me someone's playing the system. Now again, if she can prove that this is just via hard work and dedication, I'll be happy to withdraw these statements and edit this episode and cut this part out. I'll be happy to do that. I'll do that in a heartbeat. Just prove me wrong. But you won't. We won't get any calls, and it's not because we're a small show. It's because she couldn't if she wanted to. But yet, she's going after DOGE. Because one of the richest men in the world can't have this much power. He has to be making money. And my question is, that's the pot calling the kettle.
Right.
So that's
they don't
something
want him looking into their, what kickbacks and stuff have been going on and claiming that he's getting money. Well, first off, Biden was the one that had a deal with Tesla that Trump actually cut. So he's not even getting that. He hasn't gotten the contract yet from Trump for his businesses.
Yeah. And so, they're all trying to point out that, Elon's making sure that he doesn't cut any of his stuff or crap like that. It's all deflecting. They all don't want their stuff cut because the companies are paying them to make sure this stuff gets passed.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad. It honestly, and it makes my blood boil. It is pissing me off. I mean, heck, Grace, maybe it's time me and you get into politics. It seems that's the only way to make a dishonest living.
Yeah, I mean, we would probably have more money than we do right now.
Oh, I definitely have a lot more money than I do now. Trust me on that. Golly. That might be the only way for me to be able to expand my farm is to become a corrupt politician because apparently you make millions.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Yeah, and I mean, back in the day, you had people going bankrupt to serve. Bankrupt. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams. These men were left shattered. And now, all of a sudden, we're not getting shattered anymore. We're actually making millions. The same thing with Obama being a millionaire when he gets out of office. Now, I'll give him credit. A lot of that is books. Books make a lot of money, especially for the Obamas.
Yeah.
But tell me all that came from your books. I mean, even if it did, even if all your money comes from your books, I know a career politician named George Bush that there was no way all his money came from his books because his books didn't sell well. Know that for a fact, Bush.
It seems they all get rich somehow off of books, and then Hunter Biden gets rich off selling art, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Hunter Biden's a world-famous artist, didn't you know?
Yeah.
The only people I believe made somewhat a lot of their money on books is the Obamas, simply because I know people were dumb enough to keep buying them books. But, again, I've seen Bush's record sales. No, sir. No, sir. Not a chance. No one read those. I'd be like Roger Wicker coming out with a book tomorrow. I saved Mississippi. And then he comes out as a millionaire. And everybody's like, wait a minute. These books haven't really sold that well.
Right.
Wait a second. But my phone's about to die. So before I lose both my phone and my computer.
And have a 4-hour drive.
And got a 4-hour drive. And I still have to upload this episode. I guess it's time to call it quits, folks. Thank you again for listening.
Please share these episodes out. That really helps us out a lot. And leave a review and a 5-star review, if that, on your podcatcher of choice. I don't have my list up, so I'm not even going to try to name all our platforms. But be getting ready.
Basically everything.
Basically everything. Thank you, Graves. He ain't wrong. But make sure you do that. Share this episode out. And go check out conservativekernel.com and our new store. Because we are working our butts off to try to really get people awake for the movement. And I guarantee you, if we make any money from that store, it's not going to us. It's going back to the show to make sure that we get the message out about rhinos, about the liberals, and about the conservative movement. And you can find out what true conservative values are by listening to the Conservative Colonel podcast. So you got anything to say, Graves?
Well, just as always, I tell people to broaden your horizon. Don't listen to just one news source. Like, listen to everything, and make sure we win the midterms in 26. So don't stop just because things are going well right now.
Amen. And we're going to have a lot of episodes on that. Trust me, because I guarantee it's going to be a running thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure you get ready for episode 50, everybody. And without further ado, God bless America and God bless Mississippi.